Welcome back to Everybody Loves Raiken. Last week, the group spent the lion's share of the session figuring out what they could make with their very impressive reserves of residuum that might help them going forward on this bid to save the world from the dragons that are rising one by one around them. They've already witnessed the destruction caused by the green dragon Bala, and they witnessed the coming of Shisharin, the black dragon. And while they were trying to keep her from destroying the city of Tuka, they witnessed the blue dragon, whose name is momentarily escaping me.
Elsamanthe?
Elsamanthe. I'm like, I know it has the word, like, it looks like it has the word else in it. Messed myself up just then. Thank you. The blue dragon Elsamanthe. And now they've spent the last 2 weeks almost trying to help these drow who were formerly slaves of the city of Volinar integrate into society, and by organizing speeches and community outreaches to try and get the people of this city to understand the drow better and to work with them. And that has been a labor of love. That has been an all-consuming effort on their part for the last 10 days solid. But during that time, they were able to do a little self-improvement, including learning Undercommon from the drow for whom they've been fighting. So I think one of the last things I needed to go over... last thing I needed to go over was paying the price for the building. Right. Which came to 1,500 gold pieces, payable in actual cash. To the Carpenters Guild who did the work. So, whoever has the money can settle that up with the Carpenters Guild. And then I need to know what it is that the party is going to do now that their community service is done as well as they can do it. They have learned Undercommon well enough to travel in the Underdark. You know that taken below, in any event, actually, perhaps I should start here. Alongside learning the language Undercommon, you are also taught various things about drow culture that would help you interact with the drow that are not ones who had been living on the surface for many years. Ones that are still well integrated into drow society. Among these things, the obvious, the lion's share of drow living in the Underdark pledge their allegiance to Lolth, the Spider Queen of the Underdark, who is a pain-worshipping and torturous god who wishes for the drow to spite her former lover Corellin by taking the surface from the elves specifically, but everyone who lives up there ultimately. They all speak Undercommon fluently, and any other language would be if they'd picked it up. So you're going to be relying heavily on Undercommon to get there. Zeph himself would have instructed you.
There's one thing I want to mention.
Mhm.
Since we each have a bag of holding now, Leah would want to divide the money we have. She's carrying, so she's no longer the bank.
Okay.
These people can now hold their own money.
Okay, so you should tell everybody what value of money and what denomination it's in, so that they can put that on their sheet.
Yeah, I currently have 459 plat. That is including what we talked about, Derek. So that's 76.5 to each of us. So, and there's 9 gold, 27 silver, and 28 copper. But yeah, the 0.5 is a little bit difficult there.
I mean, you've been dealing with being the bank for so long, I figure you could just keep it. Keep whatever needs to be shaved off to make it
even. I agree.
Okay.
Was that after paying the carpenters? That calculation, or was that before paying the carpenters?
Well, that's not coming out of Raiken's portion?
I believe it's more than what would be handed at him if we split it evenly to distribute funds.
I don't remember that being said to me. Was that said during the session I was off?
No, I said it 4 minutes ago.
Oh, right now. Well, naturally. Yeah, this would be as soon as we got the bag of holdings. She would suggest this.
Right, then you need to figure out how you're paying 1,500 gold pieces to these carpenters who have fixed the structure of this building that needs to be able to withstand magical experimentation.
That's 100 gold per plat or 10 gold per plat?
10.
10 gold.
10, yeah.
So it would be 150 gold platinum pieces.
Yeah. So I can give each of you 76 gold platinum pieces, and then Leah keeps the 0.5 as gold, just 5 extra gold.
I think it'd probably be better to just take out the amount and then distribute.
So yeah, just remove 150 from that and then divvy it up.
Yeah, I could do that. 150 gold?
Platinum.
150 platinum?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is a lot.
Yeah.
That's why I said divide it first, then, or take the plat out, then divide it up.
Okay.
It took them several days to rebuild the walls and ceiling, and every time they came, they were very friendly, and if anybody was around, they would have talked while they worked and explained the special wood that they're using, the rituals that have been performed on it to make it be able to withstand things a bit better. Alright. If the money is settled up,
because then Leah no longer needs to be the bank. If you need to use money, you use your own money.
Alright, so it is the 29th of May today, the day after the last day of campaigning in on behalf of the Drow. May 29th. And you would be talking with Zeph. Actually, probably has you over here. Not the button I thought it was. there he is. There we go. Alright. Oh. Setting is the throne room. In Lightstone Keep. And the area here will be cleaned up, but you still see the stain of blood from the Bahir on the stones. And the grand window that was smashed in here when it entered is currently boarded up. So the area is somewhat dimmer than normal. But it is the throne room as you remember it. Especially the party who was here for the gala months ago. Claire is seated on the throne. Actually, I have one more guy. Where'd you go? There you are. The ever-present Filson. He's just so very good at what he does. So this would be, as I said, the day after you finish your campaign and are now wanting to prepare to go to the Underdark. You have worked over the course of the week with Nalia to construct your quote-unquote perfect magic items for moving forward with this.
Does anyone else think about having, I don't know, something that shines sunlight?
I mean, I can do that as a spell.
Which spell?
Sunbeam.
Yeah, but like, I can do that as well. But it's a high thing spell. It's a very, what is it, like 5th level?
Sixth.
No, I was just thinking of like something that will shine sunlight for like a round or two when you're in the middle of combat, because
How frequently? Because Laramentis can create sunlight once a day for a minute. Is it a minute or is it? Yeah, it's just 1 minute.
A minute.
you can.
That's one of the things that you saw Ash do.
Yeah, he did it when we entered this keep last time.
It was really freaking bright.
It's a good way to become a target.
Yeah. Well, hopefully they'll be too blind to be able to shoot you.
It is indeed the hope.
Alright, so you are here in this room. Claire and Filson and Zeph are present, and Zeph is explaining what you will need to know to travel in the Underdark. I think the word safely should never apply when referring to the Underdark.
Safer.
With a little preparation.
Let's just not use the word safe at all. Let's just say, informedly. Call it what it is. You'll be informed.
About as we're going to die.
Yeah.
No. Well. Darn.
He says to you, "Our agreement was that if you help my people, then I will help you. And when we started this over a week ago, I told you that I had spent a great deal of time here in this city. But before that, I lived in the Underdark, and I was aware of some of the scheming of Loth before I was brought and held here. You have delivered on your end of the bargain. There is more work to do, but my people will be safe. They have you to thank for that. So let me say before I begin, Thank you. You have proven that the surface is capable of changing the way it thinks. And I think that you will prove my words true. That this city will be the spark that sets the world ablaze. You will be, and he smiles momentarily before continuing, the voice of change. As for me, and the information I promised you, it would be useful to you to know that I come from a city in the Underdark that is not, by most standards, distant from here. It is called Umbrelite. The city is lorded over by a priestess named Morwen. And, as I told you, there are drow in the Underdark who worship Illistrei, as opposed to Loth. Umbrelite is one such place, where the city overwhelmingly is not aligned with Loth. However, in order to survive in the Underdark with the other contingencies of drow, it is necessary to appear as though you serve Loth as the others do. I can give you passwords and names that you can use to enter the city of Umbrelite and meet with the leader Morwen. This is important because they will be your strongest allies in the Underdark. And I recommend you travel there first, with haste, and avoid contact with other groups of drow, if at all possible. I can give you instructions on how to reach it.
Alright.
Secondarily, or perhaps for you, primarily, this city is more than just your ally in this. It should still be the location of one of the items you seek.
My eyes will go wide at this.
Convenient. Only one of them?
The plan that Loth conceived with Tiamat included that the drow in the Underdark would be responsible for ensuring that the world could not rise up to stop her children. In order to rise up, Tiamat told Loth that the surface dwellers would need 3 things, which could all be found in the seat of Bahamut, a city on an island far from here.
We're well aware.
I should have expected that you are well-traveled.
Raiken's from there.
Yes, they stole our stuff.
Very important stuff. My
You
stuff.
have my condolences. But it was necessary to maintain the illusion of serving Loth that Umbrelite carried out the part of the plan assigned to it. Morwen now controls this shield given to man by Bahamut. These items were kept in separate places so that they could not easily be claimed. Morwen will have more information on where the sword lies. It is important that you make a good impression on her and explain the situation clearly. She has little reason to trust surface dwellers at this time, despite being a devout follower of Illustre.
Is there anything we could do in particular to earn her trust?
It would be wise to follow Drow custom. One thing to know is that Drow society is led by its women. Female Drow are granted the powers of Loth as priestesses. No one is more highly respected in society than a Drow priestess. You must ensure that you give her proper respect when you meet her. And in asking for an audience, you must prostrate yourself effectively. Secondarily, this will mean that the Drow will prefer to receive orders from your women, not your men.
Even young women?
Authority knows no minimum age,
Okay.
and Leah is well past the limit for adulthood. In our
Yes.
society, she would be a deeply indoctrinated priestess already.
That's a scary thought.
The way that Loth leads her societies is tyrannical, and cares not for the suffering of the people.
I wonder, did that ever cross your mind when I spoke up to you first time? Like, did that affect you?
Of course. I may have lived on the surface for many years, but I am still a Drow, raised in Drow society. We respect our women as the ones who give the orders. Men follow.
Should our luck run out and we end up in a fight with Drow before we make it to the city, is there any way we can know if they are followers of Illustre?
Any Drow that are not within the city of Umbralight would never reveal that they truly worship Illustre. It is far too dangerous to everyone associated with them. You will need to identify what city they are from.
Understood. Do you know of any other cities that might be of Illustre?
Not nearby. Worship of Illustre is not popular. By design. The fact that an entire Drow society, and one as powerful as Umbralight, is in fact against Loth. And he looks around as he says this, as though, and he seems to be focusing on the corners of the room, almost checking for something. Is highly unusual.
I'd like to look for spiders in particular.
You may make an active a perception or investigation check.
I'll roll perception. Actually, I'm better at investigation. I'll do that. 23.
You step away from the conversation and begin looking around the room, carefully checking the corners and under any earthenware or decorations that are here. The place is impressively clean, probably cleaned mostly by magic. You do not find any creepy crawlers at this time, but as you move around the room, you do notice that Zeph has paused in his speech and is watching you with a knowing look and a slight smile.
Apologies, it never hurts to be too careful.
It is good that you are so aware. For the rest of you, be wary of spiders. It is said that each one of them is the eyes and the ears of Loth, and reports on what they witness.
What, every single one?
He nods gravely at you.
That's a lot of spiders.
She has eyes everywhere. It is why none of my people here can return.
So, I would suggest, guys, if we do need to talk about something kind of important, maybe we could use Lerman's mind thingy and talk mentally. Just a quick thought, sorry.
It would be a good idea to maintain that as much as possible. If also just because sound will echo in a cave and tunnels.
Brain suckers. Ugh. Shuddered.
Pilson steps forward and holds up the ledger that he's been writing in and says, "It would be a good idea for you to learn this symbol," and he indicates an intricate marking on the page. "This is representative of how Shadewalker, the inhabitants of Umbralite, the last we knew of it anyway. We can't guarantee that nothing has changed, but before we left, the city was quite secure, and how Shadewalker was quite well in control of it. It seems reasonable that everything Zeph has told you should hold true when you get there. But we warn you of this because we have been gone a long time. Things can have changed down there."
So it's possible someone else is going to get in control at this point?
Anything could have happened in the years that intervened between now and when we were brought here against our will. Shadewalker, as I said, was well and truly in control and not contested. They were a strong ally to the other cities down there, and well and truly part of Lolth's plan to take the surface.
Do you need to worry about Rowan down there?
He gives you a quizzical look. Who?
The champion of Loth.
I see. He hadn't given his name. He hadn't claimed any particular house as his own. I did not assume him to be of Shadewalker. Do you know where he hails from? He only held sway here about 2 weeks.
He hails from the overworld.
Yeah, he grew up in the Spara. Everwatch.
At that, Filson actually is the one who gives you the very surprised look.
I'd imagine he like drops his pin.
He's tapping it on the page as he appears to be thinking and contemplating what you've told him. And before he can say anything, Zeph speaks up and says, "That must be the reason that he is so special. A drow that grew up in a place untainted by Lolth's touch, away from other drow. One with the chance to live as any surface dweller. He would be a prize in her eyes."
I'd imagine it's odd for you to see a male in the role of her champion.
Never called him her champion. He was the overlord.
Overlord. So I suppose champion's my word that I've been assigning to it.
Sometimes a god chooses a champion. Gestures toward Raiken. Some gods are more subtle. But this, for one who schemes and sticks to the shadows as much as Lolth, This had seemed very strange to me, and now it begins to make a bit of sense. Had this Rowan, had he been approached by any other gods besides Loth?
Look pointedly at Larmendus.
Yeah, I just look at Larmendus.
I do not know if any approached him directly.
I said you're a bitch.
He was about to begin to continue speaking.
I know, I'm kidding. I'm teasing you.
But that is not a lie. Corellin spoke to me about keeping an eye on him, and it seems that my powers were not completely up to the task.
He falls silent for a moment as he holds your gaze. You can almost see the gears turning behind his eyes. He watches you in silence. Corellin. That poor child. He was at the center of something he probably did not comprehend. If I may make one other request of this group, considering that you are going into the Underdark and you will be interacting with children of both. If you see this man again, this Rowan, I would recommend try to save him. You could kill him, but it would strike a much deeper blow to Loth if he were to be swayed instead of slain.
I certainly intend to try. Not only for your request, but if it was Corellin's will that he be brought to the light, then I have even more reason to follow through on this.
I do not know if it is already too late to tip the scales back, but we must operate as though it is not. This is the wisdom that I can give you, travel the lands I once knew so well. I would recommend that you make Leah your spokesperson when dealing with the Drow. At the very least, until you are in Morwen's presence. It will be very dangerous down there. It is not just Drow mind flayers you must watch out for. There are many creatures that call those tunnels home, including those that make them.
The dread something, the spider creatures.
Oh,
Sounds
word.
like that.
Refer to the Draida.
Yeah, we fought those in
See the Bahamut.
see the Bahamut. I lost it. I completely lost the name there. Yeah, see the Bahamut.
The Draida were once Drow priestesses. They were priestesses who failed Loth. They are trying to redeem themselves by suffering her punishment. The idea is that they were unsuccessful vessels of her will in humanoid form, so perhaps if they more closely resembled her, they would be better able to carry out her wishes.
That won't happen to me if I if I act like the leader down there, right?
Are you a drow?
No,
Do you serve Loth?
no.
I think that you do not have to worry of becoming a Drider.
Okay, good. It's enough to put on 2 socks in the morning.
It's an interesting thing to be concerned about.
No, that is simply my recommendation for your interactions with those who are my people, you know. That will make you more certain of success. Your mission. Claire leans forward in the chair and says, "The city owes you a debt of gratitude for helping to keep things civil during this transitional period. We have, as I've said, a lot of work left to do, but things might have fallen apart completely if you hadn't devoted so much of your time to this. So, on behalf of the city of Volinar and the nation of Bromdor, insofar as it is within my power, thank you. Well, at least for me and the people present here, you will be remembered as heroes after you depart."
Seth, I have a question for you. How well did you know Morwen?
Oh, I served Morwen. She was the leader of my house, Shadewalker. I was aware of the way in which she gave orders, and the way in which she doled out praise and banishment. Would she know my name? Perhaps. Most of us became a bit more famous once we were captured. Were we friends, such as you and yours? No. Do I trust her? Absolutely.
Tristan. Does it sound like he might meet the requirements for sending, if he would be able to cast it?
We've long been operating under the idea that you must have some actual familiarity with a person in order to send to them, and I don't currently, looking at this description, see a reason to change that.
So that would it be my belief that he's not familiar enough?
I would say by what he's described, he would not be familiar enough.
Bummer. Well, it was worth a thought.
It was, very much so. But it always ends up begging the question with the way they word things in this, unfortunately.
I mean, sending's always been like that they've copied over the wording from before.
I'm aware.
It's not a new
Problem.
A new problem? But I would say that given that the other spell there has familiar as the strongest connection you can have, I'm more comfortable with maintaining this ruling that familiar means like family, close.
At the very least, someone you've had a cup of coffee with, and a nice chat.
Sam, your character became familiar with Yuzaki, and we were able to send to him because of that.
Mm-hmm. Lerman has spent a decent
Great.
chunk of time
Yes.
with the dude.
Talking to him about
He
important
has not
topics.
tried to send to any of the other Dragonborn from there.
No. I would say that you would qualify as familiar enough to send to Haruna.
Yeah, we traveled for a couple days together. So
Yeah.
it
And
seems
by
re-
the same token, I would say that an argument could be made to send to either of the guards that you traveled with as well.
We could send to Rowan.
Oh yeah, definitely. Could also patch to him. Scare the shit out of everyone near him.
I mean, yes. You could send to Rowan.
How could we could scry on him too, couldn't we?
You could try.
Sure, there's a roll for that, isn't there?
Mm-hmm. Although Leah did successfully scry on Tam.
And he wasn't dead.
That would have been a very unfortunate scrying.
It would just
Yeah, it would just fail. She wouldn't know.
prepared.
Though we did joke about just seeing his body in a ditch or something like that.
It's just a rotting corpse in a ditch.
Yeah. I could try scrying on Rowan, but he might be too powerful.
It would be useful to know his location at times when you are worried about crossing paths.
Like we scry on him and we see ourselves, he's just like hiding behind a bush.
I'll definitely try. I mean, I know him, and that helps. We still don't have any objects that belong to him, do we? Wait, did I collect? I take a look at the book. Tristan, did I collect his hair? Because he was there when I kept yanking hair from every player.
I do remember that you were doing that without people knowing. I do believe that was around the same time that Rowan received his visit from Vax, from Exon?
Vexus.
Vexus. That was it. Like a number between 1 and 4.
Why was Leah stealing hair?
For exactly this reason.
A great deal of foresight.
Yeah, Leah said this out loud, so as you take a look, if you look over at her opening like the backside of her diary, you've seen her diary before, likely a pink book with some drawings on it.
Did you
In
steal my hair?
the back, you might be able to see like several types of hair and even like types of dragon-like scales. Just seems to have been tied into the book itself.
Mm.
If you have good enough perception or standing close to her, I'll leave that up to Tristan.
He does, yes. You do see a sketch that resembles you next to a lock of hair that seems to have been sewn to the page.
Get that. How'd I not notice that?
Gotta sleep sometime, man.
I'm stealthier than I think. It's for scrying purposes. If I can, if I own something of yours, especially something that belongs to you, like a piece of hair or nail, it's easy for me to scry. So it's in case I lose any one of you and need to find you again.
Why didn't you just ask?
Because I was dumb. This was before all our talks about discussing things out loud before doing them. Sorry.
I look in the book. Do I see one of mine?
Good
Alright,
question. I'm
yeah.
not sure.
Had you stopped collecting them by the time Rowan left?
I mean, she could have kept doing it for a while. Should I roll on it?
Yeah, roll on it.
What do I add to that roll?
Let's just go with wisdom.
Wisdom. That's +2, so that's 18.
Okay. I mean, yeah, you know that it would still be wise to be keeping pieces of people you consider allies in case you lose them, as you said. So you would have kept doing it even as new members came.
Yeah, so Jebel and Cyrus is also in there.
Okay.
I would offer up some of my hair, but it seems you've already got it.
Yeah, in retrospect, I wish I thought of this when we were with Lynn. It would be very helpful.
Can I with something? I know Lynn pretty well. Or scrying.
Are you asking me, or are you asking her?
Asking her.
Okay.
The scrying is a spell I know. I don't know. Like, it's connected to me when I cast a spell, so I need to know this person well enough or have something of theirs. If you have something of hers, then yeah, I could use that.
I believe I am. Am I familiar enough with Lynn to send to her?
At this point in time?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I believe that I could send to her, and if you seek to scry on her with permission, if she's aware the spell is being cast, she can let it be cast.
That's true. It costs more spells though.
Yeah, we use sending all the time anyway.
Well, you got those walkie-talkies.
Which I need to give one to somebody else now that I have a Stone of Sending.
Sorry, I'm writing at the same time. This person I know that really likes D&D, that I got to watch this. So just explaining some backstory.
So yeah, just pick somebody, Cyrus, and huck the box at them.
I'll give it to Yuki.
Yukikaze?
Yep.
Yukikaze.
And now we're the secret walkie-talkie buddies.
Okay.
Yeah, so
There you are.
I will take it. Because I have a new shiny bag of holding that I can stick stuff in.
Stick it in there. Just so that you are reminded, it is a thing that lets you communicate audibly with whoever holds the other box as long as you're within 1,000 feet of them, and on the same plane of existence. Basically works like short-range sending. But it lets you split up around a small area like a town and be able to communicate back and forth.
I also got to talk into a plastic cup.
You talk into this metal box.
I mean, like, through to your microphone.
Oh my goodness.
Now imagine this being like one of those cups on a string.
But it is a small, golden-colored metal box with several what appear to be diamonds set in its surface.
Oh.
They're very small diamonds.
I remember this because I was there when we got them.
Yeah, I mean, it's from Garland. Everything there was a little bit extravagant. Oh, my instruments are still bent.
Well, it seems like you'll have tools enough to help see you through to your next goal. But, there is one matter that was recently brought to my attention, and she leans over toward Filson, and he holds out the ledger to her. It says, "It seems early this morning, a young man entered the city by way of the eastern gate and began asking around about an Order of the Sacred Flame."
I ask for her, like, if they can describe it. Like, can you describe the man?
She actually holds out her hand, and Filson hands her the ledger. She describes a human male who appears to be around in his late teens. He has blonde hair and hazel eyes, and tan skin. That is what the guards reported about him. Is he an acquaintance of yours?
Doesn't sound like one of mine. I was hoping it'd be Dad. What about you guys?
Can I roll?
Yeah, roll history.
Roll history.
Yeah.
Oh.
I guess I'll roll history in case I'm forgetting something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm doing.
I got a 29.
I got a 15. Oh, okay. 14, 15. Let's should write it. That was all in the same time.
Oh my gosh.
I got a whopping 2.
I got 14.
14.
Yukikaze got 24.
Okay. Lair, you know you've been gone a while, and that description could match Brill in a few years, but you don't think you've been gone that long.
Yeah, I mean, time is an illusion and weird, but not that weird.
It feels
maybe
like
he
maybe
got
you've been
Carol
gone
with
that
it.
long, though. What did you get, Vendar?
I got a 14.
14. Okay. I mean, that description could fit a lot of humans that you've interacted with over the years. You know, without maybe actually meeting the person. Hard to know if it's somebody you have met before or not. It's a vague, like, it doesn't seem like it doesn't seem to match any of the people that you've recently met in your travels. And I'm going to actually say that that's the same for everybody. It doesn't seem to match the description of anybody you've recently met in your travels. Everybody that you've dealt with that might be looking for you that you can think of was either an adult or a child, but you didn't deal with a lot of late teenagers. At least no humans fitting this description that you can think of from any of the cities or towns you passed through. But maybe it's a person who heard of you in passing or tangentially and has been following your name, and perhaps you'd never met them. Maybe it's a fan like Crunch. But none of you can think of any specific person that this matches. At least not that you would be expecting to be seeking you out.
Did he explain why he was searching for us?
He did not give his name to the guards, he did not give his business to the guards, but they did hear him asking after the Order of the Sacred Flame. I felt this would be important information for you.
I mean, he got the name right, so that's more than most people.
That doesn't necessarily mean it's a good thing.
Everyone here seems to have taken the liking to my little shout-out, didn't they?
Yes, I was under the impression that you were the voice of change.
I mean, I shrug. We could be.
Well, we should try to be. Does that
It's
look
less
good?
intimidating.
New name, new name, new name.
I mean, it might be better to switch to a new name.
As for Raiken, I actually did have a question for him that I hadn't addressed before this, and for that I apologize. But it is rather important.
Alright.
The group was made aware before you came to Volinar that Sivan's forces had been visiting the seat of Bahamut ever since you showed them that the place had been overrun by the Green Dragons. You were told by Nalia while you were still in the desert that they had been trying to find any magic items worth taking there, but one of the other things that they had done was they had moved all of the Dragonborn in the vicinity of the city to Volinar.
That's right. Where are my dragon brethren?
They didn't check.
During the course of the nearly 2 weeks you've spent here at this point, you would be made aware and have been able to see for yourself the accommodations that were established for them. They are not pleasant.
This will not stand.
So, given that they were effectively corralled and kept outside the walls of the city, but near enough to be provided for in terms of food, clothing, shelter, and assuming that we handle this as over the course of the time you've spent here, what do you want done? Knowing that by the end of this, you have a significant amount of clout with the person in power.
I would request that they also are accommodated for try to get in the city.
You know
Or
that
at least increase the better conditions so that they're not all corralled up and
yes, they have been treated as outsiders, not as Bromdoran citizens, and they have been kept away from the general public.
at least until actions can be taken to.
I'm not telling you this to modify what you're asking for. I'm giving you more information about the conditions.
I was just continuing.
Okay.
Stuff until actions can be taken that the seat of Bahamut and Arcosia can be cleared out so that they could return.
Okay. Information from the powers that be would let you know that Arcosia, at least seat of Bahamut, specifically is unsafe. But that you are aware that over the course of the last 10 days or so, a project has been underway to expand the wall of Volinar to make room for a new temple of Illustrae, and that part of that area could be used to create new housing for these Dragonborn, put them in more humane conditions.
Is that are they going to have enough room to go along with the housing for the drow?
You could ask for modification to the wall to ensure that there will be.
Raiken will do so.
Working, as part of everything else you were doing over the last 10 days, then those accommodations could be made. it is definitely jarring, seeing how these Arcosian Dragonborn were separated and fenced in a way that, local Dragonborn were not.
Yeah, Leah would have had a conversation with you about that during the 10 days as well. Because she also, with her friends, took a look at the place, saw the state it was in and was buried. So she talked with you about it at some point.
Okay.
I think that was like day 4 or 3 into it. It's in the diary.
3 was the giant.
3 was the giant, yes, I think it was after that.
Yeah, it was 4 or 5 or something, if I remember right. But in any event, yes, I don't like doing things retrospectively, but that's just one of the problems with skipping over 10 days.
It's all good.
So yeah, this would have been... I won't sugarcoat it. It is outrageous treatment of these people. And that's not even mentioning that, most of the able-bodied men and women were conscripted into Bromdor's army.
Well, I can't really do anything about that because that means that they were sent off to the front lines. All I can do is help the ones right now that are there.
On that note, you are aware that Claire has been working to bring the front lines home.
That's good.
There's a lot of logistics behind that. Not bureaucracy, since she's the top of it at this time, but logistics. Seems it's still making noise. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's see. Give you that information. So you know that there is somebody who has come to the town, come to the city just this day. And has
Look
the name
for us.
the Order of the Sacred Flame.
I have a thought, but I was curious when you gave no explanation about Leah figuring it out with her 15 on the roll. Then I probably don't. Then I probably don't know who it is.
No, everybody had the pretty much the same result on their roll, which was, you've met a lot of people in your travels, but this doesn't match the description of anybody you would expect. It's possible that, any one of the people that you have gone past who fits this description could be here, but you don't know them by name or why they might have come.
Yeah. Well, I know one guy by name, but I don't know why he would be there. I can't remember his name right now.
Where was he from?
What?
Where was he from?
The town before the cannibal town. The guy that flirted with Leah and Raiken hated.
Well, I mean, he was your age. I think his name was Dallin.
It's something like that. Yeah.
Good
He
enough.
had a very similar name to his father, I remember. They were like letters apart.
He better know what's good for him.
I don't know. Now you experienced 2 parts of the fatherhood with a teenage daughter there. 1, the flirting dude, and 2, the clique. Which one would you prefer?
Devram. Dallin
The
was
click.
his father.
Devram,
His
yeah.
name was Devram.
Definitely prefer the click.
He likes the click because it's all girls. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to out you. If that's right. Okay.
It's okay.
Oh, there it goes. I'm like, no, clearly the music has stopped. I was about to go do something about it, and then I start hearing it again. I'm like, okay. Be that way. Very well. So, you were given the information about dealing with the Underdark. You hoped that perhaps ascending could work, but we have determined that familiarity needs to be pretty strong before you can send to a person. And you were given information about this young person who has come looking for the Order. Answer a question, so while I answer this question, would you tell me what your next course of action is? Remember that pretty much, at this point, pretty much everything you want to do in the city is done. So, you know, who do you need to speak to, or do you want to go find this person, or do you just want to ask for directions to the Underdark?
I have one question for Vendar.
Yes.
Do you still have that purple worm longsword?
I do.
Hikaze, how many magic weapons do you have? Just the one, or do you have two?
Wait, do I have to attune to it though?
No.
The purple worm longsword? No, it's not even magic.
Just a long sword that does 1d6 poison damage.
And it's also masterwork, so it has an extra +1 to hit.
I'm not really gonna ever say no to another sword. And I have the shiny bag I can put swords in.
Well, if you're not going to use it...
Oh, I didn't say that.
Okay.
Uh,
I am in need of a longsword. I'm aware he has a spare, but I'm also aware that you can make better use of it than I could.
does it's just a poison longsword. It doesn't have any real magical properties. Like,
It was one made out of a purple worm tooth. It was just like the daggers and stuff.
you know what? The purple worm stuff is pretty nasty, Cyrus, and if you could use that to your advantage, probably should, because I do have a new
Like
sword,
It's on purple worm.
and I do have Kai. I do have key still, so
Well, like I said, you can use it better than I can, so if you want it, and Vendor was willing to give it up, take it.
can you use a short sword?
No. I specifically need a longsword.
Gotcha.
So
Yeah,
if you
I
want
love
that
that.
one, I can either take one of your old swords, if you're not going to use them, or I can go buy myself a new one.
Now, is a short sword a long sword to you?
Good question.
No, I still think it'd probably still be pretty big, regardless. But anyways,
I just like that passive aggressiveness. It's like, yeah, the purple worm is gross, so Cyrus is more your thing. You need to be careful, though, Yukikase. If you take on more swords, you're on the road of becoming Bruenor too.
oh no, I will be carrying as many swords as possible, and my little collection of daggers I have.
So he is Bruenor 2.0.
That much. Use my daggers more. Or I should say throwing knives.
So what I'm hearing is I need to go buy a longsword.
No, go ahead. If you can, a longsword with you is going to be equal no matter what kind of longsword it is. Why you can utilize the purple worm one, because I still have Suimaru, Kibimaru, Ki, and now Hiryu. So
God,
Yo.
you have a lot of swords.
Alright, well, if you change your mind, I could always trade you.
that's perfectly fine too.
Anyway, yeah, here, go ahead and take the sword that's longer than you are. Oh, did you add the magic items and shit that we made?
Did I make them that you asked for last time?
Yeah.
Yes, and I applied them to, I think, everyone's sheets.
Oh, shit! Really, haven't seen. I have to take a look at that. Then.
But did we also did a body armor for me because I'm leaving the armor
Yeah.
of Bahamut? I didn't see that.
Yeah, there it is. Dragon Slayer focus. Yay! That's cool.
Oh yeah, you took Volinar off there. So
Tristan,
yes.
I must say, I just had to. Sorry, I just had to say this because I saw it. I looked at the Dragon Slayer focus. I had thought about how it would look like and was gonna ask you about that, but it seems like we have been on the same thought.
Ha! Excellent.
Because it just, yeah, you describe it almost exactly as I wanted it to look like. So I'm like, wow.
I'm very happy
Nice
that you're
twinkling.
happy.
Yeah.
Did you make my Guinator?
Yeah, I hadn't. I think. Let me check here.
And Spellbreaker, I think is what you called it.
Thought I made Spellbreaker. I might not have put it on your sheet though, so hang on. And apologies if I didn't.
It's no problem. Just make sure you know that I. And should I
Cyrus the longsword.
should I leave armor of Bahamut on my sheet, or should I just completely take it off because it is with? No, it's gonna be with Nalia.
I mean, that is up to you. You can easily re-add it, but at the very least, you just need to unequip it and unattune it.
Yeah. All right. I think
so
I'll actually
heals.
remove it just to keep a very detailed.
Okay, so I did make Spellbreaker, so if you just go to Manage Items, you should be able to add it. It's called Spellbreaker Breastplate +1.
Okay.
Vendar, do you have Studded Leather of the Assassin on your sheet?
I do, and it's equipped.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
Then I think
I gotta get rid of my other leather armor.
I might not have made the bow only because it is going to mostly exist in description, but I suppose that's not really in it. You know what you wanted to call it? Oh, you wanted to call it the Guinator, didn't you?
Yes, it's the Guinator.
It's okay.
Okay,
I only
Professor.
slightly hate you.
We all here to annoy you at some point, Tristan.
I suppose that's true.
Vendar loves his shitty naming.
Mr. Squeakers, what do you call the second one?
Lord Squeaker's the second.
Lord Squeakers the second, yeah.
He's a duke.
Of course.
Meow meow and nay nay and
Yeah.
so very creative.
I miss Nene. And Nene 2 Electric Boogaloo.
They were good horses.
Breastplate +1 doesn't have much more defense than a regular breastplate.
It will have one more defense than a regular breastplate.
It's coming up on my sheet as.
Did you unequip the armor Bahamut?
Yep. Let me unequip that. Yeah. At least on my sheet, it's showing up as the same.
Did you attune it?
Yes, I did.
I'll take a look in a second.
Yeah, don't take your time. Sorry, just pointing stuff out.
So I would like to get all of my purple worm poison back from Leah and arrows too.
Oh yeah, of course. Everything in the her bag of holding will be divided appropriately. Like, everything that belongs to you will come back to you. Let's see, vials of purple and poison. There's 18 of them, and 9 pounds in weight. So you get all of those. And arrows, just normal arrows.
Yeah.
There's 172. You got that?
Yep.
then I remove it from my list. There's also something that just says Cyrus stuff that is 18 pounds in weight.
I think that was like my backpack or something. I don't know.
Probably, yeah, full of, I think it was your backpack full of everything that's in the backpack.
Yeah, but I have that on me now, so you can just delete that.
Yeah. And the walkie-talkies, yeah, we talked about that earlier.
And all of the gunpowder and lead balls and shit.
How much was the platinum again?
We each got 44 platinum.
44. Okay. Did not add that. Add that now.
I don't see. Yeah, I don't see the gun-related stuff. I think you already took that last time.
I mean, a lot of it was
Oh,
destroyed.
I do. I already
And
have it.
yes, you did
I
already.
already have it.
Yeah.
Information. Has charges. Okay, I think that will probably do it.
Okay. So back to.
I think so. Save changes. Yeah. Alright, so you should be able to search for and add the Gooinator to your sheet. You might need to refresh your page before it will come up in the search, but I don't think so.
It felt like a little part of you died when you said that.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Just sort of melted a bit.
Alright, so the other thing I needed to quickly deal with was that Yuki was saying his armor value was wrong. Equipment. Boop, boop. Armor class of 14. Dexterity of 2. 17. Okay. Yeah, that might be a problem.
Well, I can just mentally remember until later.
I'm not seeing it.
Alright, hang on. Did you try refreshing your character sheet and then searching?
I have.
Okay. Give me just a moment. I thought I got out all the little bugs here, but I guess I never equipped this armor to Malachi's character, so I have a little bug that got by me.
I'm gonna go grab a soda. I'll be right back.
Okay, maybe this is why. That's probably Yuki refresh.
You got it.
It's a 17 now.
Yep.
Okay, what was the question I was just asked? I know that he went away. At everything?
Yeah, Leah would. Yeah, I mean, Leah would ask where that dude is now. The one that's looking for them.
Oh, Vendar wants to check the post office over the week in case he got a response from his sister.
Oh, right. I know that when you go to the post office, the course of the week. No, nothing will have come by the end of the week. By the end of the 10 days. And you should know why from the contents of the letter she sent you.
Yeah.
But there's hope that that might change soon. Unfortunately, Lair never met your sister, so you couldn't ask him to send or anything like that.
But that's the beauty of the Stone of Sending.
That's right, you just didn't go there, didn't you? You stayed like in the mage place.
He was absent that session.
I was out for the session, I think.
Yeah, that's true.
What we said Armandus was doing at the time.
Oh yeah, right. That's the session where Leah got high.
And that was when you all went and had somebody else arcane lock your stuff.
Yeah, that's true.
To immediately come back to your group wizard, who's a utility wizard, known for utility spells. Say, we found someone who could arcane lock a thing, and then just got a look.
Oh, that's what I needed to check on.
That's a good point actually. After getting the bag of holding, Leah would ask if it's possible to arcane lock her bags, so only she can access it.
No.
Oh.
The person casting arcane lock also has access.
Well, that's
Always.
fine. She trusts you.
Mistake.
Let me just double check that. I'm pretty sure it's the case. Yeah, you and the creatures you designate when you cast the spell.
Yeah.
So it is.
Can you make a scroll that makes sense?
That you would be able to use? No. Would it be possible to make such a scroll? Most likely, yes.
Okay.
Yeah,
So-
I was mostly just joking that I don't trust their menace.
Vendar, I would read the description of this new bow after refreshing your page carefully, so that you understand how the charge system on it is supposed to work. It is going to be up to you to manage it, but it is there so that you can manage it.
Yeah, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I can only have a single type of poison. Alright.
I mean, where does it explain it?
It says the storage system can hold up to 4 vials, 12 arrow cartridges of a single type of poison.
Yes. So I don't know how you're supposed to see it, unfortunately. It's not obvious to me. Under regaining charges, there is an explanation of why. Although, I'll just copy it to you. This is the wrong item.
You can just put that kind of thing into the basic information, the description under basic information.
Yeah, but it's already so long.
Yeah, but it's just that if the person, as far as I'm aware, like if the person hasn't made the thing themselves, like that's all they can see.
I know, but
Is
that's
that-
so weird and dumb, and they need to fix that. Why do they have to make it my problem?
An awful lot of shit that they need to fix about some of this stuff.
Okay. Here we go. I'm just gonna copy this to you, Vendar. Vendi.
Okay. Then I'll just go ahead and load the purple worm poison in there.
The system is simple enough that if you wanted to change to another type of poison, you just have to have the vials with you to put the poison that's in there back into. You're able
I always
to...
save my vials.
Yeah. And so you're able to transfer it back if you wanted to change to a different type of poison. But the quickest thing that you have access to is whether the things are poisoned or not. It takes considerably more delicate work to switch poisons. But it's something that you could handle before going into a fight.
Volinar. I love it.
Yeah, I think that, in that case... Okay.
Did you give Cyrus the ring I made him?
The ring. I think he took it in the form of a hat, but it's the same thing, right?
Yes. I just specifically didn't want it to be
A hat.
my captain's hat because I'm
Okay.
not a captain.
Okay. So, that's, easy enough. I'll just, That's not what I wanted. Well, that's what I... See... Virus.
So everybody knows about that now.
Yeah.
Sadly, I cannot have it stoned as I'm going to the Underdark and need dark vision.
Ah, that's fair.
No. Stop trying to steal my hat.
I wasn't trying to steal it, I was trying to get you to give it to Raiken. Speaking of which, Raiken, you want this?
But you wanted it.
I want Raiken to have it for the benefit of the group, because he gives us better saves.
I don't know. Is it going to clash with my helmet?
No, it's a ring. It goes on your finger.
Oh, it's a ring. Okay. Is it something that I need to attune? Because I can't, because I have all my spots filled
Well,
up.
then, maybe afterwards.
Well,
But
until
yes,
then, you can hold on to it.
You're as ungrateful as I am in Animal Crossing when a villager gives me something I already have. Immediately run over to the next villager and give it to them.
In all seriousness, though, Vendar, thank you. I do very much appreciate the gift.
You're welcome. Stop trying to take my hat.
I'm not trying to take it.
My hat. I found this hat. My buddy Rowan, before he turned out to not be my buddy no more.
Well, hopefully we can use that hat to turn him into your buddy again. Anyways, so directions to the Underdark, so we can use those after we go and talk to the person who wants to talk to us.
The drow Zeph will say, I can take you to a safe entrance, the Underdark. But allow me to see you off.
As you wish.
We thank you for all your hard work, Zeph, and it was really nice working with you.
Do we wish to... you first.
It was surprisingly fruitful work with you, and I hope that I meet more people as open-minded and reliable as yourselves as I continue my existence on the surface. Rattler?
Do we wish to see who it is that was seeking us out? The last time someone very explicitly was looking for us, I believe that it was Cyrus, which proved a beneficial
You said they had
meeting.
golden hair.
I said we should talk to them, but I wanted the directions before we, started to leave, so we didn't have to double back.
Yes, Claire had said they had blonde hair and hazel eyes.
I mean, what was the dragon's name? The good one?
Seltharis?
Seltharis. Probably not her, but she can take human form, and she likes the gold hair.
Good as guess as any.
Claire just sort of sighs and says, That's right, you have interesting friends.
I feel like interesting is an understatement and friends is an overstatement. She also is a solid.
Right, of course she does. Of course a dragon would be beholden to you. I am not aware of where in the city you might find the person at this time. People are, of course, free to come and go and conduct their business, so long as they're not, causing trouble or threatening, which this person did not seem to be. But I'm confident that if you take it up with the drow guards, or some of the people around town, you should be able to locate this person.
Well, guess we should go have a chat.
I am not intending to continue the authoritarian way in which the city was run, but I do not know what my successor will do. So, sorry if that means that I can't direct you to them.
I mean, if they were asking for us, eventually they will probably find Nalia's place, yes?
It is likely, yeah. You might start your search there. You want to start your search there?
Yeah. Anyone want to join me? I'm very curious who this is. And if you go to Underdark first, they're likely gone.
Alright. So who's going with Leah?
I'll go with Leah.
Is
I'll
this
go.
like to go have the chat? Coming with.
Well, I think we should all go. I'll go with.
Okay. You will.
Yeah, by the way, I mentioned the tattoo on the shoulder. Sometimes, like when we were in there, Lorelai will sit on the shoulder in a way that kind of makes it look like she's on the flower. The flower is more like on the side of the shoulder, so she will be more like feet on the flower, but still. It's kind of cute.
As we leave the Lightstone Keep, I'll summon my familiar to look around and see if they can spot this person.
Good idea. Lorelai, can you have a look at too?
Yes, you can send your familiars out. Scout. Are you sending them ahead of you to Dahlia's, or to check other places in the city while you go to Dahlia's?
I'll have mine just check the local area.
Yeah, likewise, but I have mine fly a different direction than his, what is it, was it like a pigeon or something?
Dove.
A dove, yep, that's pretty much a pigeon.
White pigeon. Okay. Very quickly, the familiars begin reporting back on people who seem to fit the description. You get a lot of reports.
And I'll just say, thank you for your service, and ask if they'd rather be able to fly around or if they'd prefer to be sent back.
Pigeon is a very good scout, though. They can see in 360 degrees and fly very quick.
So you come to Nalia's place after walking the city, and I will say that after the 10 long days you spent here campaigning and working with the people here, especially in contrast to the day you arrived when it was storming and everyone was holed up inside their homes due to the threat of the drow, the city seems very much transformed. The streets are once again busy with people conducting daily business, and even in most places, as, you know, there are drow among them, or drow guards patrolling, they seem mostly back to normal. It's impressive. You almost don't recognize the city. You really don't recognize the city as the same place that you came to over a week ago.
I assume we also gone to know, like, people around might know who we are more in a more friendly way.
Yeah,
Like,
there are those
might
who
smile and wave and...
Yes, there are those who acknowledge you as you pass. Some you even know by name. You know, different people who run different shops within the town, or farmers who come in to sell their crops. But yes, you are very much locally well known. I wouldn't say that everyone smiles and waves. There are some people who give you much darker looks. But as I said, the ultimate result of the 10 days you spend is that the city is reasonably stable. And even if there are still dissenting opinions, they are not loud enough to cause a deterioration of society.
So, Chad has been beaten.
For now. He is not currently strong enough to undo what you have done. He is not a looming threat, but he is also not a threat.
Gotcha.
There was somebody to have an accident. I can't.
Indeed.
Is Nala in summer mode?
Seems so.
Makes it easier with this Eldred. Getting to know immediately as you look at them what kind of mood they're in. And I guess while living here for 10 days, we probably would have been able to easily distinguish the faces on Nala as well. If we've been in contact with her often enough.
You say, I believe that Naravar is an Eladrin, and I don't think we ever saw him change.
Naravar does not change.
Yeah,
but when Leah asked him about it, it was like he said that he traded a lot of stuff, and she came to the conclusion that he is different and that most Eldred is like this. He's also from a different world, so Leah just ignores him and still believe that every Eldred can do that hair-changing thing.
Okay, so you come back to Nalia's Manse after being in Lightstone Keep this morning. It is getting on toward lunch at this point, and Nalia is sitting at her table as you push the door open and enter. You also notice that seated slightly around the table from her and in conversation with her is a young man with blonde hair and hazel eyes and tan skin. He seems to be wearing a leather jerkin for fighting, and stiff leather gloves on his hands.
Okay.
But he seems to be smiling and talking amicably with her.
I will immediately telepath to Lola and say, we found him, Mr. Nalia's. Return.
And Nalia looks over to the group and says, well, speak of the devils, and they show up. There. This young man says he's been searching for your group, or at least as you were formerly known, the Order of the Sacred Flame.
How can we help?
He says his name is Marzel Aldrich, and he's looking for one of you in particular. He tells me that it is Vendar.
Yes. Who are you? Why are you looking for me?
Vendar, I need you to roll a history check with advantage.
History check with advantage. Ooh, that's a 1. And that's a 2.
Oh, that's twice.
Double advantage?
Yeah.
No clue at all.
What's the total on the 2?
So with a 2, my total is 7.
2.
Are you trained in history?
Yes.
So doesn't that give you reliable talent?
True, it does. Doesn't it?
So you got a
I
10.
forgot about that. So that would give me a 15.
Okay.
It's better than a 7.
I forgot that
Tristan.
worked in
Yes.
history.
As soon as he's looking for Vendar, she will unhook the she now got the wand fastened to the belt with a little safety hook on it. to keep it from like you do with guns or small daggers and such, you know.
Yeah.
So she just unhooks that stealthily,
Mm-hmm.
just to be prepared.
Sure. The boy rises from his seat and smiles over at the group. It is not a warm smile. He appears to be maybe 16 years old. And he looks over all your faces before focusing in on Vendar, standing at the front of the group. And he says, in a Thanandane accent, "You're Vendar, right?"
Who's asking?
Oh, I'm sorry, you rolled your check, and I didn't give you the answer.
That's my bad for interrupting. I'm so sorry.
Yeah, no, it's also my bad for not taking care of it. I am going to be right back. Ooh. Ooh. Oh, there it is. There we go. Hello, Vendar. Vendar?
Yes. Hello.
Hi. Okay. So, you rolled a 15 on history.
I did, because that's as low as I can.
Yeah. It's not great, but it's still really good. So, you do recognize the name Aldrich. This is not a name you've thought about in years. You are aware, you remember being ordered by your father to seek out this family. You know that you did have to perform your grisly duty in the name of the Drakner line on this family.
That's not good.
So it sort of dawns on you as the name is said, and you recall this. The specific names and places and faces are hazy, but you are able to imagine that he's probably here to seek revenge.
Yeah, probably.
I'm gonna let him speak now.
Okay.
You may move back to the other channel.
Baby pop.
So, he rises from the table and smiles coldly. Says, "You're Vendar, right?"
Yeah.
Vendar Drakner?
No, not anymore.
He, stutters for a moment as that answer seems to take him by surprise, but then shakes his head quickly and presses forward and says, "I've been following stories of you ever since your family sent you out. Sent out the notices of disavowal, which is what I assume you're referring to."
Yeah, that'd be it.
Have you told these people? He gestures broadly over the group, and he raises his offhand and rests it on the hilt of a sword. You can see he's wearing at his hip now. The work you did?
I am definitely preparing to Eldritch Blast him as soon as he strikes.
So preparing a spell means you cast the spell, which is extremely obvious. I'm just going to say.
He is right.
So, preparing a spell,
Okay.
you cast the spell and then basically hold it ready to just
Okay.
let it fly.
Okay, then more like I am ready to actually cast the spell. So not a GM function, then just like it's clear that like she's holding her wand at this point.
Mm-hmm.
They are aware. I'm not proud of the things I did for my father, and I'm trying to make amends.
Hold up, is Cyrus aware? I don't know
Yeah,
if he is.
we definitely, because we talked about it in the desert place that I can't, Tuka.
Right.
Yeah, because of the whole that's when he got the news. Yeah. That's true. So I think all of us know. Well, I think Jebel might have ignored all of the information and zoned out, but besides that, we all know.
Remember, I think he did this come up at the same time as the disownment? Like, was it?
Yeah.
Because I do recall Jebel saying that is something that should probably be taken care of because it would be a problem later on, his being disowned, if it meant meant being denied access to things, because the entire group was denied access because we
that's true.
associated ourselves with him.
That
So
doesn't have
Jebel-
to be an issue. We can figure that out later.
No, but Jebel did mention that. Like, he did say, like, we're gonna have to sort this problem out if it's affecting every member of the group as a whole.
Yeah, I mentioned that in the past, so yeah, it's true. We all know about this.
And still you choose to work with him? Travel with him?
Well, he's been one of our traveling companions for a long time.
He looks to the tabletop, seeming momentarily lost in thought, and you can see that his grip on the blade handle tightens. You can hear the leather of the glove creaking as his grip tightens on the hilt. You're really okay with that? How he destroyed families?
Wait, families? We all only know about the assassination of his father.
I definitely told you about the work
Yeah,
he had me
that's what
do
we were just
beforehand.
talking about.
Let me tell you a story. At this point, Nalia is like looking between the two groups, like with very clear interest, and she sort of just lifts the small tray with her teacup off the table and leans back in the chair.
But oh yeah, I know what you did before, like what the founder caused you to do. But I thought this was about this
Vowel.
losing your name.
That seems to be the trigger that caused him to come searching for me. Because
It's
he knew
what
where to find me.
allowed me to find you. And it's what will allow me to finally get revenge for my family who you killed. Because you're no longer protected by your name.
I may have been the one to do the deed, but my father was the one who was responsible.
You
I'm very sorry.
were the blade in the dark.
I was.
Following orders is not an excuse.
That's why I'm trying to make up for all of the horrible things I've done. I was an indoctrinated child. I learned. And I killed my father for it.
Several of us are on a road of redemption. That's why we do the things we do today.
He narrows his eyes at Leah until she stops, until you finish speaking, and she looks back at Vendar, finally seeming to choose some words, and he cracks out, "I heard that you had killed your own father. It must have been nice getting to choose when he left your life. Wasn't a choice I was given. It seems all of you are intent on protecting him, and I don't wish to fight you. But it seems to me that perhaps you don't know everything of import about your friend, Vendar, House Director." He shifts his weight from the other. Would you hear my story and make the decision over whether you want to fight his battle for him?
It makes no difference. The past is the past. What matters is what he's trying to do now.
Past is the past? The past is the past? My family is still in shambles. It's very much our present reality.
And it wasn't his choice.
It was absolutely his choice!
You don't know that.
If
You
someone
believe that
tells you
because
to
you're
swing a
hurt.
blade, you're a moron! You don't have any idea what you're talking about. If someone tells you to swing a blade, and you swing it, was that not your choice?
Not when they hold everything you love dear to you.
Absolutely, it is always your choice. I had to learn that the hard way. I don't know how old you are, but I imagine older than me.
Not the
Spent
same age.
10 years living in the shadow of this man's deeds. 10 years.
A lot can change in 10 years.
Yeah.
You managed to do a lot of change here in 10 days.
In 10 years, you can lose a father, and then lose a mother a few years later. The same man.
Not that it might sway us, but it probably wouldn't hurt to hear his, what he'd like to, story he'd like to tell us. Because, like said Cyrus, if it doesn't change what happened, it doesn't hurt to know what did happen. What do you think?
Yeah, it's worth a shot. But I keep my eye on him the entire time.
You can see that he is shaking with anger. And tears have welled up in his eyes and are rolling down over his cheeks. snuck into my home in the middle of the night, and he slit my father's throat while he slept. All because my father wouldn't agree to a lopsided business deal with his father. That was 10 years ago. While still grieving, our mother, she took over the business. Slowly, we learned to live without our father. It's hard. There's a lot of work to be done. We had to help out any way we could. And then, just as my mother was arranging an acquisition to grow the business, knife in the dark struck again. My older sister acceded to your father's demands to spare her own life and mine. Though the deal impoverished us. I was 11 when my mother died. It was years before I understood what had happened. Once I did, I devoted myself to finding you, paying back what you took from me. The hand that's not resting on the hilt of his sword, he raises and wipes the tears from his eyes, sniffles and says, "I know you won't face me in a fair fight," says, looking over the group here. It's fine. I've already decided that you don't deserve a fair fight.
Oh, that does not
I'm
sound
going
good.
to suddenly cast Detect Thoughts.
This is your warning, Vendar, formerly of House Drakner. The past doesn't stay the past. Not when it's soaked in blood. The boy is thinking about fighting Vendar. He is imagining blow for blow how it will go. There are others in the fight. Others fighting Vendar. The boy sees himself die. But his allies take Vendar down. He begins moving around the side of the table. Rubs at one of his eyes again, says, "Thank you, Archmage, for the tea. It was delicious." And he moves up to the group, clearly angling toward the door, stopping in front of Jebel, looking down at him. You need to decide what's worth fighting for, and what's worth dying for.
Oh, I made that decision a long time ago. And I'm going to step aside to let him pass.
What happened to your parents was wrong. We're certainly not denying that.
I don't want to hear anything more from you, he points at Cyrus.
What if we could give them back to you?
That's a big promise.
I'm not saying a promise, I'm saying an if.
Don't waste my time with bullshit.
There are magics that can do it, and we have funds to afford it. And I know a cleric that owes me a favor.
Are you lying?
No, I'd imagine Jules from the Sons of the Imminent Dawn probably owes him a favor from his adventuring days.
Then roll persuasion.
Natural 20, 27.
Wow.
He, balls his hands in a fist at his side and looks down at the ground, so it's hard to read his expression. Growls. Don't be making promises you can't keep.
If you allow me to use this stone, I can see about setting it up immediately.
You make something happen, you find me. I'm staying in town. But remember, I've had to live without them for almost a decade already. Getting them back might just not be enough anymore. He looks at Laramendus and looks past you to the door, and looking up at you and says, "Well, Elf, gonna let me leave?"
Of course. I stepped aside. I hadn't realized I was in the way of the door. Actually, was not looking at the map. But I stepped aside.
He steps between you and Yuki. And he pulls open the door and stops there for a moment. And he kind of looks over his shoulder to Yuki and says, "Thanks for letting me tell the story. Hopefully it gave you something to think about." Moves out into the street, closing it behind him.
I'm going to construct a sending.
Go for it.
Now, Cyrus, are you sure this is a good idea? You're talking about bringing
It
back
is a-
someone that's been gone for 10 years. Wouldn't that cause...
Something we can do?
Wouldn't that cause very much problems both here and in the underworld?
Raven Queen will not be happy.
She may not be the happiest, but there's a wrong we can right. There were lives taken prematurely.
Well,
But there's
By one of
many
our own.
lives taken prematurely. I caused some... Vendor cost a lot. We can't promise to bring back everyone that is taken.
I don't know if I missed it, but did he specifically say how he knew it was Vendar that did it?
Yeah, his father, apparently.
His
Like, there was
father
a...
told him?
No, yeah, like a business problem between the two fathers.
Yeah, but didn't specifically say that Vendar was the blade. Like, how do you know Vendar was the blade that killed his dad? That's the thing. Either I missed it or I don't know. To me, it sounds like just he knew the deal and his father died because of it, and he we know how Vendar's family is, but not specifically that Vendar did the deed. Now Vendar Do you want to be honest with us and tell us, is this one of the acts that your father made you do?
It was.
Shit.
His father was one of the first.
Damn it.
I can't. I have caused a lot of harm that I can't remove.
Well, no, I was just
This-
hoping that
You know, this probably won't even be the last time we'll have to deal with somebody looking for revenge on me. All I
If,
can say is, you know,
if worse goes out that you're no longer under Dracner protection, then yes, we're likely gonna find many. Which brings me back to why I think this is a bad idea, Cyrus.
we're not going to be able to undo all the harm I've done. All I can do is to hope I can convince him to not. But I would very much like to not kill him. I've caused enough harm to him and his family already.
He doesn't
There's
care if
no...
he dies. He expects to
What?
die if he fights you. He can see it in his own mind.
If it does end up in a fight, I will make every effort to not kill him.
Wait, what did you see, Cyrus?
I saw him and several others all fighting Vendar. And himself ending up dying in the fight, but the others managing to get Vendar in the end.
so I wonder if he actually already knows a bunch of people that are out to get Vendar.
Oh, he made that quite clear.
Yeah, it's true.
At this
His,
point,
his
Vendar-
others are likely the others that Vendar has hurt. That's most likely the group of people that's after him now as a collective, not as a single.
You think they might have come here together?
It's possible. Be people with a common goal.
Well,
Damn it, I knew I should have used eyebite.
if we talk to this one individual and things, well, we'll try to solve it in a very decent way. I don't think anyone's gonna follow us into the Underdark if we head there.
We are planning on leaving the Underdark.
Yeah, that is true.
Eventually, this will catch up to us.
Yeah, I understand that.
If anything, they could set up a trap, an ambush for when we return.
What's if they know where we're gonna come out at? It's hard to freaking even navigate that place to begin with.
Even if you resurrect this guy's parents and he decides a debt is paid, how many other orphans are there that we might have to worry about?
Yeah, we
He's already
can't.
said there's a lot.
Yeah, we're not gonna be able to bring everyone back.
My father was
question is-
ruthless, and I was his tool.
If we have access to someone who can cast the appropriate spells, why not? Aside from pissing off the Raven Queen, we have the ability.
Do we
If
have
we-
someone capable of casting spells able to bring someone back dead for 10 years? That magic is quite potent.
It's necromancy at this point.
expensive.
I mean, they're far decayed, right? That would be like bringing them back full from the underworld.
A lot of spells recreate bodies, so
The body would be created and the soul would be allowed to choose, but it is technically necromancy.
No, I don't like
but
that.
They are not undead. They're if the soul is willing, then the body will be as it was in life. That's how the
Not to
magic
mention that news about us travel very fast, faster than we travel by foot. If news that we brought back someone Vendar have harmed from 10 years ago, if that spreads, imagine how many are going to come out the door wanting that.
Now, I have already been disavowed by my family. I could take on a new identity. We could say Vendar is dead. I'd rather not do that. I rather like being Vendar, but
Yeah. And also, it doesn't.
If anything, you could take the target offer back, especially if you're also changing, the group's name. People looking for,
Maybe we could. Well, let's see what the people leaves us. Emphasize that the road that we've picked will probably be the end of us. But when we succeed, which that's what our goal is, we'll be helping the world. Maybe just. But it's hard because it's a lot of emotion that we're trying to calm or ease.
I don't believe that there's anything we can say in any reasonable time frame to Laramendus remembers the name of the guy. Sam does not.
Enter name here, go.
What
Order to
What was the name you're trying to remember?
the chap who just left.
something Aldrich.
Yeah, it was Marcel Aldrich.
Marcel.
Okay. To influence his opinion, even if we were to pursue resurrection and we had a cleric capable of doing so and the funds to give them to do so, that would still require getting the cleric, getting the corpses, or at this point, a portion of one of the bodies, and that whole thing is time-consuming. And not feasible in the long run. Our entire point here was that people can be different than they were. People grow, people change, and Vendar has and is continuing to do so. And if we need to keep more of an eye out for things, then we can, but for people coming at us, I suppose. But
That would be problematic, but we could always just keep defending Vendar and just, if they want to attack, stop them, knock them out, and leave them. And just, it would be a headache, but we could keep doing it.
Well, I realize it has flaws, numerous ones at that. But I still feel that it is a wrong we could right. And I'd like to do it. But it's ultimately up to Vendar. Between the two of us, we have enough money to be able to afford a resurrection.
you need two resurrections.
But, and I was about to say, but if we're going to pay for, or we can use a small amount of the residuum, which would be considerably cheaper than coin. Well,
Well, they used so much of it.
I would make the case that at this point residuum is more valuable than the equivalent amount of reagents.
Okay,
By
they will require a majority vote. 4 of us would be required to pay for enough, because it takes 1,000 per casting.
Well, the simple issue is, if you're right that all those people that he has with him that are planning to also kill me are also members and families of people that I've killed, if we do it for him, then they will all expect the same.
Yeah, we're only appeasing the one. I'm against you. They're trying to bring people back that have been gone for 10 years.
And if we try to, so a little bit of adjustment is actually 6 years in the time span.
I'm
But,
still against bringing people back to life.
But yeah, and
It's still too long, yeah.
the number of people that I killed while in my father's service, it would be so much, and that would cause such disturbance.
Yeah, there's too much damage that can come out of it.
I vote no on resurrecting.
Likewise. Lorelei will be back now, I assume. Tristan?
You wanted to do
Probably.
something with Lorelei?
Yeah, I wondered if she was back, she's back on my shoulder.
At this
And I've
time,
heard
she
this
will be-
conversation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At this point, she is back. She's been back a while.
Yeah.
She hadn't gotten far.
Yeah,
Probably should have had this vote before the offer of resurrecting his parents were made, because now you got his
Yeah.
hopes up.
Yeah, that
I
will
still
make.
think it's something we should do.
What?
I still think it's something we should do.
Now that you've put it forward as a possibility, yeah, I'd be inclined to agree.
I'm gonna stand against it. I'm not for it at all.
I witnessed too much harm that I've come through this sort of necromancy. I will not stand by it.
Right now we have 4 votes for no, which are the majority.
Vendar, what do you think?
I wish I could do something so easy to remove all of the pain and damage that I've caused, but it can't be as simple as casting a spell. It's too much. I can't change what I've done. I can't remove the effects it's had. I think our best hope would be to convince him that I've changed and that revenge isn't the way, and that he needs to learn to live his life.
I would have agreed with that position. Again, if the offer of restoring his parents to life hadn't been made.
But
He didn't seem to believe in that anyway.
you also heard his statement. Like, he even doesn't even believe it would quell his rage. Also, when he was leaving, he said it's been too long. So there is also to think about that.
Yeah, regardless of that, to present it as a possibility, a real possibility, and then just take it away from him. You're adding that on top of everything else. You're taking a bad situation and making it worse.
That damage has already been done.
No, this damage has not been done. Other damage has been done. This is new damage.
Again, we can't take back Cyrus's offer. He already made the offer.
He's already lost his parents. This would be like losing them again.
It didn't sound like he got his hope up, though.
It doesn't matter. You gave him some amount of hope. You
And-
presented it as a possibility.
And then the damage to everyone else that will come hunting us down, expecting this, and us unable to
So if we
give
do
them
it,
what they
then
want.
it would cause the harm to everybody else that I've hurt.
How many? How many might that be? Roughly? Estimate?
Rough estimate of how many people I killed. I was in my father's service killing people for about 4 years. And in that time I killed 54 people. And that was just the targets.
That's a lot.
So more than 54.
Not every kill was the cleanest, especially in my early days. Sometimes there were witnesses, and I was taught never to leave witnesses.
So you killed the witnesses, right?
I
Yes.
think that's the implication, yes.
Yes. Again, I don't think this is a good idea.
Untenable situation. I cannot remove all of the harm I've caused. I will never be able to make up for it, but I will spend the rest of my life trying to.
Instead of making up for the past, you can help making the future better. We just need to make them understand that, and I don't know if there's a way how.
Well, bare minimum, we need to now figure out how to deal with the problem I've just created. What's the saying? The road to hell is paved with good intentions.
Mm-hmm.
Saying's actually the road to the Nine Hells is paved with good intentions. But no, this has been an interesting. Nalia interjects while sipping tea.
I jump as I just suddenly realized that Nala's been there the entire time. That has completely left Leah's mind.
There's a clink as she sets the cup back on the saucer in her hand, and she wiggles her fingers at you, waving.
I turn to her and say, was there anything particular about his tea?
His?
Yes.
What are you insinuating there?
That perhaps his emotions might have been more favorable towards us than they could otherwise have been.
I had no idea what business that boy came here with. He arrived here only maybe a half hour before you did. We were having a nice conversation until you showed up.
Nalia, I think he's asking for a potato.
I didn't poison the boy.
Wait, what?
But I can if you want me to.
I was saying, Larmedis is asking for a potato.
I didn't drink anything.
No, I know, but yeah. Anyways, yeah.
I told him you had a new name.
New name?
Voice of
For the
change.
group.
So much for that. Back up.
It would have been fairly reasonable for people people would have known about that change. It would have been spread around because you would have people talking about this other group, and then merchants who had been here at the time talking about one group. The stories around both would be very closely intertwined. It would have been reasonable for any sufficiently determined person to realize that they were one and the same.
At least here in Volinar, definitely. Made your name change here. a lot of people knew the name Order of the Sacred Flame before you came back for your second roundup. In any event, sounds like you've got even more fun to deal with, so gonna run off to the Underdark and let that sort itself out.
Yes, at least the Underdark thing is something we have prepared for. Let's not
Well, I
let
think you gave him a
this.
fair fight.
What? You asking about a duel?
That's what he wants, but he says that we wouldn't give it to him.
I am going to go out on a limb and say that if he any Vendar is very skilled at what he does. I don't believe that the boy will be capable to best him, and I am going to believe that he will feel that if he doesn't win, the fight was rigged, no matter what we do to try and make him realize that it wasn't. There is no such thing as a fair fight in his mind.
I'm just trying to put out ideas. In regards to getting out of the pickle I've put us in.
Well, you said. Sorry.
Terribly with his team.
Sorry, continue, sorry. So I didn't mean to stop you.
We could simply say that the cleric I know is not strong enough to bring back someone that's been gone that long. That may very well be the case, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking we could do also. And we could also just check with him anyways, just to be honest about it too with him. So it's not like we're trying to lie to him. We could check and then decide what we want to do from there.
If we were truly wishing to do this, then we could find a cleric.
Like I said, I'm against it. Bring him back.
I'm merely stating that.
Yeah, I get you.
Knowing one cleric that we ask if they can do it and they say they can't, then there are other clerics, some of whom will be capable of doing such a thing. Although very, very few. Can I make an Arcana check to know the spell level and power that a cleric would need to be able to cast the spell?
Yes, you may make that check. I think that you'll almost definitely succeed. Did you roll a 1?
21. No, I did not roll a 1. I rolled a 5.
But it's still a 21.
Still a 21.
Good gosh.
16?
Let me guess. Expertise?
Yes.
It's even higher than mine. My highest is plus 13. I do have reliable talent.
Two things that are helping me quite a bit on int checks.
My highest is +9.
So, if I'm remembering correctly, the spell you would need to use in this case, being that it has been for a year, it's been several years, you would need to use Resurrection, which is a 7th level spell.
Yeah.
In the School of Necromancy. And you need material, a diamond worth at least 1,000 GP, which is consumed. You know that the spell takes 1 hour to cast, and that there are drawbacks to being brought back in this way, and that the target can't have died of old age, so all of Vendar's murder victims would be acceptable targets for it. But it is a very expensive, very high-level spell.
Yeah.
Requiring a 13th level caster at minimum.
Or you can do true resurrection, which is even higher level and far more expensive.
Yes, technically you could do that.
So
Or
I think the more
That
logical
actually
choice
no.
is regular old resurrection, which is still a 7th level spell with a material cost of 1,000 GP.
Yeah, because 9th level and 25,000.
Fine. Totally fine.
For each of the 55 something people.
That's a lot of people to resurrect.
Yeah, but I mean, we have how much residuum left?
if you want to make it your life's goal to become a 13th level cleric and then do this, you will probably die before it's done.
It is 10:41, and that was a very good scene. Unless there is more to discuss immediately, we could end and let you have a week to think about what just happened.
2 weeks, because I won't be here next week.
Aw, damn. Okay.
I'm alright in there.
The only other thing is that Leah would, as a discussion continued, she would walk over to Nalia and ask for a strong tea.
Nalia will oblige. Okay, so here you have it. Being that you guys haven't been awarded XP in a while since there was that whole 10-day thing, we're finally past it. In total for this session, I would like you each to receive 2,500 experience points.
So 2,500.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
They changed the man.
They did. It was weird. I don't like it.
Oh.
Doesn't do a drop down anymore. It pulls up a sidebar.
Yeah.
Oh.
It is weird.
It's been like that for a while, though.
Well, we haven't done XP in a while.
No, it's been like that for I've done it like that for a long time now.
I have not had. This is the first time I've ever seen that.
You mean just that the XP pops up on the sidebar?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the first time I'm saying it.
Oh, you mean okay? Oh, you mean that list? I thought it meant just the experience thing. Oh yeah, no, that is new.
Okay.
Yeah, I thought it meant just the sidebar for the experience change. That's been there for a long time.
Yeah. No, the experience itself, yeah, it's always been
Yeah.
like that. But the drop down to get to the managed experience change.
Yeah. That's true. That's new. Yeah.
I'm about
You can
9,000
disable
XP short.
you can disable dice rolling there though. Which I have, because now I don't accidentally click a number and roll a dice anymore.
Well,
Okay.
this was significantly less happy than I've been hoping for it to be when I first heard somebody was in town looking for us.
Yeah. Yeah, if they're looking for me, it's never gonna be happy.
I thought they were looking for me, but then they were looking for you.
Unless
and
it's
that's
Lynn,
not
right?
fun.
Unless it's Lynn, yeah. Then it's super happy.
Alright, I'm gonna end the stream. Night.